Hey guys, the Fight Bananas podcast is supported by Daniel Martinez, the law offices of Daniel Martinez. I solve problems. Guys, give him a call at any time at 877-5-RIGHTS. That's 877-5-RIGHTS. Or check out the website at martinez.law. Daniel Martinez, the law offices of Daniel Martinez, in your corner. 877-5-RIGHTS. Also, check out Fusion CBD products. Check out the website at fusioncbdproducts.com. Guys, you know I drink the waters. 6-pack for $19.50. It's an incredible deal. Also, lately, I've been using the CBD Instant Rub. There's a relief rub and also a CBD cream and muscle for joint pain. Guys, make sure you go to fusioncbdproducts.com right now. Hit them up on Instagram at fusioncbd and check out the website at fusioncbdproducts.com. Hello, world. What's up, guys? Dave Van Auken. That's me. Once again, guys, you are listening to the Fight Bananas podcast and another absolutely packed show for you today. Mondays. I'm a Monday guy. I love Mondays. Issac Thompson, Australian, 18 years old, alpha male, making his pro debut Friday night. Icon Fighting Federation 4, UFC Fight Pass. He's jumping on the show 6 minutes. 5-6 minutes. That's what we got produced. Okay, so 5 minutes. All right. Guys, I just came back from Island Fight 65 in the Panhandle. I will give you the whole recap of that. So much is going on. So much. UFC 256 this weekend. Figueiredo and Mcconnell. Can Davison become the fighter of the year of 2020? Of this crazy 2020, last pay-per-view of the year. We got Bellator, our guy Cody Laws fighting. Like I said, Icon Fighting Federation, Bella Mir. We broke the news, fightbananas.com, a couple days ago with her opponent. We got K-Rock on the card. Icon Fighting Federation 4 is absolutely stacked. Like I said, I'll jump into Island Fight 65 in a second, but let's just kind of recap or break a little bit of what's happening right now. Major news, Floyd Mayweather. February 20, 2021, Floyd's back. They're calling this a super expedition, so it's not a professional fight. And he's going to fight at Paull. Not Jake Paul. Not the one that knocks out people. He's fighting Logan Paul. This is the most 2020 thing ever. This is it. It's already getting major buzz. I'm going to predict right now it's going to do better than what people think it is. It's getting a lot of just shame. It's getting a lot of just negative takes right now. I think it's going to do pretty damn good, dude. The Paull brothers know how to promote. They know how to create a brand. And Floyd Money Mayweather's been doing it for over a decade. So that's February 20th, 2021. I cannot believe it. Guys, it's crazy. We're going to do something different coming up next month. We have Conor McGregor coming back into the UFC 257 versus Dustin the Diamond. We're going to do something cool like every day on our social media platforms, Fight Bananas Official on IG. We're going to do like a Conor, go back in his history of his old fights. Even Dustin, we're going to alternate days. We got to start getting excited. This is a main event. The MMA world will be watching. I think the whole world will be watching Conor McGregor, UFC 257. But let's not get too far ahead. Let's talk real quick, 256. Don't know if we're going to jump back on. I think Friday we're going to do a special live show. We're going to get our girl Taryn Temple back on the Fight Bananas podcast. Really break down UFC 256. You don't know how the week is going to go. These cards have been getting shredded lately with COVID. It's spiking everywhere. So hopefully we see a lot of these fights. Like I said, Figueiredo has a shot. Especially if he finishes another pay-per-view main event. He's the fighter of the year. And who would have thought maybe the worst way to start off your campaign of fighter of the year of missing weight and almost a kind of a little bit of a controversial win. But then just ever since Fight Island to claim the flyweight championship against his Joseph, we saw what he just did against Alex Perez. And now if he does this, if he kind of cleans out this flyweight division pretty quick, Davison Figueiredo, I would love to see Henry Cejudo come back. I just never think he's going to come back to flyweight. When you make that kind of money and you have the return, he had the feather bantamweight championship, why come back and lose 10 more pounds? I just don't see it. Don't see it. Our girl, Jillian Savage Robertson, Andrea Lee, that's off, but looks like she's going to fight Santos. So much. Co-main event, Ferg and Charles Oliveira. So we were at Island Fight 65. We were talking with a lot of fighters there, amateur fighters, pro fighters. We had Phil Rowe in the building. He was killing it. He was just having a great time. And this was the fight. Like, this was the fight people were talking about. Kind of had more buzz than the main event, to be really honest. Like I said, I called it already. I'm still going all in. I'm going out with the limb. I'm going with the dog, the underdog. I'm going with Charles Oliveira. I really am. I don't know what Tony Ferguson's – I don't know what we're going to see. He got just destroyed by Gaethje, and sometimes it takes a whole nother fight to come back. So I'm going to go with the hot hand. I'm going to go with Charles, the ascension. I like where he's going. I'm going with Charles Oliveira in the upset. I cannot wait. So Icon Fighting Federation 4, UFC Fight Pass. The producers giving me the wink. Issac Thompson, guys. An absolute phenom, 18 years old. I hope it's going to be a great little interview. And then right after that, we're going with Island Fights 65, a whole recap show. I'm going to break down the show. I was there live commentating with my girl Tally. It was a great, great night. Here we go, guys. Let's go absolutely bananas with Issac Thompson. All right, guys, here we go. Icon 4 Fighting Federation this Friday live on UFC Fight Pass. One of the featured bouts, one of the featured fighters on it is joining the show right now. Issac Thompson, how you doing, my man?
I'm really good, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How good does that sound? It's been a tough year. 2020 has been hard. How does it sound to end the year with a professional debut?
Man, I'm super blessed to get this fight. It's been a pretty rocky road trying to get a fight this year, and I feel super lucky getting one.
Right, and you got one last month, but it just didn't work out, right? There was a weight cut for the opponent, and just it backfired, right?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, there was a couple. There's been a couple this year. That's
the fight game, man. That's the fight game. Also, have you checked it out? The whole card. For one, Icon Fighting Federation's been on fire. And this is the fourth event. Bella Mir, Frank Mir's daughter's on the card. K-Rock, one of the definitely hot female fighters, 105, 125, just a stacked card. There's a guy 9-0 is about to be in the UFC. So does that give you extra juice that you're fighting on a really, really stacked card? People are going to look back 3-4 years from now and be like, whoa, all these guys were on the Icon Fighting Federation 4?
For sure, man. It also gives me a little bit of exposure as well, so
right.
That's good.
Right. You're right. We've been hearing, so Bella Mir fought on Icon Fighting Federation 2, and it was one of the most watched events on UFC Fight Pass history. It was blown out of the water. So like you said, Frank will be probably there in the building. A lot of eyes, like you said.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool, man. Well, so I've been following you for the last couple of days here and really checking you out, and I'm just really intrigued. I went to the website, IsacThompsonMMA.com, and it's everywhere. It's on your IG page. It says, follow my journey to be the youngest UFC champ. Let's start with that. How important or how vital is that for you for that to come to fruition?
Man, it's one of my life goals that I'm trying to achieve right now. 2020 did set it back a little bit. I wanted to get around 7 fights this year, so it's all right. I can still achieve my goal.
Absolutely. Anything's attainable. I was going to kind of ask this later, but it just seems like it's perfect with we're talking about years. If you had to go in your crystal ball and say, what is a perfect 2021 for Issac Thompson? What is it? What's your kind of goal or outlook for 2021?
Man, I'm trying to get all my fights done. I want to get at least 7 fights done in 2021 so I can go to the UFC.
Right, right.
I go 7-0, 7-0. That should be fine.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit less, especially like you said, the
Yeah.
eyes. With Icon Fighting Federation, you get so many eyes on you. We've been seeing 4-0s and 5-0s go to the Contender Series during the summer, so maybe that's all you need. You never know, my man.
Sure.
Especially with you have such a great, rich history. With the Muay Thai record, and when you were 17 years old, you won the IBJJJ championship, world championship, right?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us about that experience.
Man, it's just it's pretty. It was pretty fun to do, to be honest. I love competing in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I've been competing since I was 8 years old. So it's like kind of second nature for me, and I just had a lot of fun.
Out of those three aspects of MMA, what's the one you lean to the most, or what's the one you like to kind of put inside the octagon? Is it the BJJ? Is it the Muay Thai? What's your go-to in a way?
I kind of set it off on who I'm fighting. So if I'm gonna fight a striker, obviously I'm gonna try and take him down and submit him. But if I'm fighting a jiu-jitsu guy, we'll just strike with him. I can go anywhere.
For sure. Can you tell us the journey? So you're at Alpha Male right now on the West Coast, is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm at Alpha Male right now.
So tell us about that. Australia, what gym was that the gym you wanted to pick? How did that connection happen? Tell us that journey from Australia to Alpha Male.
So before I came to Alpha Male a couple of weeks ago, I was in Miami. I was doing a lot of training there. 3 years ago, I actually went to Team Alpha Male, just to do some training, and I made some friends. So we cut a bit at we cut some ties in Miami. So then I just thought I'd come over here and do some other training, mix up some MMA training.
Right, and the rest is history.
Rest is history.
Nice. I feel like, I've been a fan of mixed martial arts and the UFC for decades now, and Alpha Male 10, 12 years ago was so, with Uriah Faber and a couple of the lightweights, and of course when Dillashaw was there and Cody was there, and just some of the pioneers in the sport, right? Now It feels like in 2020 there's this second wave. Corey McKinnon's there, I know. My guy Vince Murdoch is over there. You're there. I'm looking at all these pictures, and I'm like, man, in the next 2-3 years, there's a huge wave of alpha male fighters going to come into the UFC. Hit on that for me. Do you feel or see the same thing? There's a huge wave right now happening at alpha male on the West Coast.
I just got here, so I don't know too many people at the moment. I'm kind of just like on the outskirts of what's going on there.
Okay.
I'm just doing some training and doing my own thing.
Right. Okay. Who's a pioneer or two that you watched through the UFC through the years? Someone maybe you watched at 8 years old or 10 years old, and now your dream is to be the youngest UFC champ. Who's a couple guys that you've kept a close eye on?
Back in the day, it was probably like Rampage Jackson and that. That was probably one of my favorite fighters back when I was growing up.
Nice. An absolute legend of the sport.
Yeah.
Legend. Who's coming out there with you to San Carlos, Mexico? Who's going to be in the Issac Thompson corner?
One of the guys from Team Alpha Male. What's his name? And he won. 1 second, I'll find the name. I'm so sorry.
No worries, brother.
He won Global Agent. He won a Global Agents title. His name's Andrew Richardson. He's a pretty good guy. Another MMA
nerd. We love those kind of guys. We're into that. Man, well, with you fighting Friday on UFC Fight Pass, there's also a huge UFC event on Saturday, UFC 256, a couple flyweights for the title. Do you have your a pick with Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Morano?
Man, as you know, fightings are always 50-50.
Sure.
It's a hard pick, man. I'm not too sure right now. I'm not too sure.
Okay. And one thing I'm super pumped that Figueiredo did, and I think some, you just mentioned you wanted 7 fights maybe next year. I think maybe a little bit of a cluster camp. Back in the day, 3 fights, maybe 4 max. You would fight, and then you would go away for a week or two, get big, and then get back into a camp a couple weeks later. I liked how Figueiredo fought literally the night after the press conference, the night of. Dana White was like, yeah, let's get him back in there soon. He feels fine. He's good. It's... you know how it is. You just told me how hard it is to get a fight, and especially and in these times as well. What do you think about cluster fighting? Are you a fan of that? It sounds like someone you want to get multiple fights in pretty quickly.
Yeah, man. Like I want to kind of fast track my career a little bit. So I'm a big fan of just like smashing out a bunch of fights every 2 months.
That's awesome, brother. Very cool, man. Issac, it's been great talking to you. We cannot wait. We're watching UFC Fight Pass Friday night, Icon Fighting Federation 4. My man, the platform is yours. Any kind of sponsors or any kind of shout-outs you want to hit, Issac, run with it.
Big shout-out to one of my sponsors, Body Science. They've helped me out like tremendously throughout the years for my health and that. So yeah.
Very cool. Okay, man. Hey, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good weight cut. Have a safe trip out there to Mexico, and we'll talk soon. We'll talk after your victory on Friday, all right? Island Fights 65 officially in the books. I am en route home. I think at the last podcast I talked about how much I loved recording in the studio. I am not in the studio. I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice. I was actually on the stick last night commentating for over 4 hours. Got loud a couple times. A couple insane magic moments. A knockout of the year candidate. Titles were earned. I really think a couple fighters really stepped up, stand out. It was bananas. It was absolutely insane. We're going to try to recap it and try to have some fun here. Let's kind of start from the beginning. For one, let's start with, the commentary booth, like I said. So, Tally Payne, an Invicta FC fighter, just awesome. She was cornered, or she trains with Carson Nash, who was in the main event. We'll get there very soon. She's from Jackson Wink, and they were all traveling here to the show. And Island Fights was talking to us about, commentary and being on the show and, breaking down the fights and just, literally John Anik and Lauren Sanko. You know what I mean? Like getting the job done. So I thought it would work. I talked to her off air a couple times. I like just her mojo, and dude, she is a badass fighter. She just knows her stuff. And me with being a part of the Island Fights family and knowing all the guys and the girls and the fighters, I really thought it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I thought we were going to kill it. But you don't know until you know. And we know. It was awesome. I thought we had a great time. I thought the banter back and forth was awesome. I thought we kind of let each other breathe. I thought it was awesome. And so far, it's been cool. Like, you guys been digging it. Island Fights Facebook page, definitely go watch it if you haven't. It's been good. Even the fighters are saying, dude, I kind of watched my fight back. I thought you guys killed it. The guys that run the show at Island Fights thought like we killed it. So, hey, first of all, thank you. I think it's the first of many. I hope me and Tally do it again. We'll see what happens with Carson moving forward. Like I said, we'll get to it. But, I thought Tally and I killed it. So, very cool. It was just awesome. It was just pulling the John Anik. It was badass. So, guys, let's get into the fights. I'm not going to break down every one, not going to recap every one. I'm just going to kind of jump and move, start from the beginning to the card to the end. We got some backstage stories. We got some, I'll pull the curtain out for you guys and give you the gossip. So, let's start with the very first fight. Kalik Battle, and Will Folger. And Will Folger was making his debut, 18 years young, in the flyweight division. Kalik is an absolute monster. Huge. As a flyweight, he looked like a featherweight, just a big, big boy. But Will Folger got the job done. Looked awesome, 18 years old. It was a moment already. It was a great way to start off the night. So, tip of the hat to Will. Very cool. Second fight of the night was Chris Wright versus Jesse. Chris Wright is that Thomas the Engine, right? Or Thomas the Engine, or the little engine that could. Yeah, I think that's the one. And just a great kid, all heart. We talked about him. So the night before, Friday night after weigh-ins, we went back to the Island Fights headquarters and, broke stuff down. We were, talking about the next card, just chatting about so many different things in the fight game. And Chris didn't make weigh-ins. His card broke down. And it's 2020, right? It's 2020. Shit's been happening. And so Chris comes to the office around 10:30, 11 o'clock. And it's just insane so he comes there and he makes weight and he's actually 1 pound under. And he was saying that just how hard it was and how hungry he was, but he wanted to make weight for the fight. He's just this guy. He's all heart. He's just a really, really good guy. He's fought for the banner numerous of times. And then to him to get the victory. He kind of got hit early in round 1, fell down, just a comeback win. It was just that feel-good story. It was awesome. Chris Wright, big ups to him. Just huge. Our guy Justin Welch got a nice little victory there on the card. Comes on the, hey, it's what happens when you come on the podcast. You get the dub. And big things in the works. I talked also with Devin Adams, the matchmaker for Island Fights, after the show. And we were just kind of, puzzling together next month's show. And I think Justin's going to be very pumped for his next fight. And we're so excited for his future. Oh, real quick, I skipped over Chris Mcconnell. He was in the third fight of the night. Maybe it was hard because I'm looking at a name Chris. I don't know who this is. I know who is Sugar Shane O'Malley 2.0. Chris Mcconnell was phenomenal. Definitely one of the standout athletes of the show. He is literally Sean O'Malley's twin. He looked just like 6'4", 6'5", long, rangy, has the cornrows. Man, he looked like O'Malley. He fought like O'Malley. He was phenomenal. Chris Mcconnell, definitely, here you go. We love doing this here. Keep your ears and eyes out for Chris in his future. I don't want to put too much on the kid's shoulders, but the future's pretty endless for him. Literally next level stuff. We'll see him on UFC Fight Pass very soon and probably beyond. So big ups to Chris Mcconnell. I'm going to skip it real quick to Jay Mitchell, John Gunther. We had breakfast with John Gunther and Cam Bennett. And John was very excited. It was his debut fight. Still have heard nothing but phenomenal things about him. John fought really hard. It was his first fight. It looked like it was an adrenaline dump, a little bit of the gas tank, and, it is what it is. And Jay Mitchell's tough as hell. Jay Mitchell got the victory there. Definitely, I think it was a straight jab that really hurt Gunther's nose, and he just kind of never really came through after that. Just the nose was busted, the gas tank was off, the breathing was off, and, hey, you just tipped the hat off. Jay Mitchell with a nice victory. So we're going to kind of get into the meat of the show now. And a couple things. For one, big ups to Pensacola showing out. The card was absolutely stacked. It was packed. It was full. Big ups to my guy, Daniel Martinez, that was there in the building. He had a great speech about, if you guys do need help, reach out to my man, www.martinez.law. And he was phenomenal here. It was phenomenal. Phil Rowe, Philly Fresh, UFC fighter was in the building. And, man, he had a great time. He was looking like The Rock, doing the title belt. I think he did the ring card thing as no shirt. He was having a great time. I think he jumped on the mic for a second. Big ups to Phil Rowe. All right, like I said, we're really getting into the meat of the show. And let's kind of start here with the kickboxing debut of Brendan Thompson. Brendan Thompson, 156 pounds, lightweight division. Quentin Armstrong looks like a middleweight. So he looks like Israel Adesanya. So long, so strong, just humongous. And Brendan Thompson, nicknamed to the end, True Grit, just got the job done. Brendan looked phenomenal. Just so gutty, just whatever it took to get the win. Inside leg kicks, overhand rights. Brendan Thompson with one of the standout performances of the night. All right, and talking about one of the performances of the night, I think this was fight of the night. One of those times after the fight, Dean Toole, Devin Adams, I'm sitting right next to him, guys, just up, clapping, cheering, yelling, fight of the night. So that belongs to Peter Coart and Cam Bennett. Cam Bennett, I think he was almost doing an embedded show, so I can't wait to see that come out afterwards. Fight of the night, it was a split decision. It went to Peter, but it's one of those things, especially as an amateur fight. You had to be there. It was just a great fight. Everything, grappling, wrestling, stand-up, combinations, just a little bit of everything. The pace of the fight. When Cam Bennett goes forward and Cam Bennett pushes forward, he's pretty tough to beat. He just is tough to beat. But big ups to Peter. Peter got the job done, and it was the fight of the night at Island Fight 65. Maybe they can get a little bonus. I know it's amateur level, but hey, you take them out to Krispy Kreme, both guys. I think Cam would be really, really pumped for that. And then also, guys, we go into, so that was fight of the night. This might be it could be knockout of the year. I saw that SD Dumas' video was getting a lot of love kind of towards the end of the year. He is knockout for Island Fight 63, I believe. Alexander Shank. A moment of the night, knockout of the night, you can give it all, performance of the night, whatever you want to do. So Alexander Shank was fighting Trey Webster. So Shank, Island Fight 63, main evented against Cameron Sandoval, which was one of the best fights underneath the banner's history. Two legitimate high-end featherweights, two of the best amateurs, period. Got the job done. Then the next month he fights Mike Peltier, who I'll talk to him about him later on last month, and didn't get the job done. Was blunt about it, just felt off, didn't feel right. And Peltier is one of those guys, he's just there. He's not leaving you. He pushes the pace. He's great standing up. He's great on the ground. And if you don't do, your best performances, Peltier will get the W. So all week long, Shank was very vocal on social media at weigh-ins. He was going to get the job done. He was angry, and the funny thing, the first two rounds was just didn't maybe went his way, didn't go his way. It was close. It's just one of those things. Like Webster was controlling the fight. Of course, Xander looked better with the stand-up, and then round 3 started, and it looks like Webster was gassed. Hands were down. Tally and I were talking about that like we thought something major could have happened, and it did. Alexander Shank with one of the sweetest knockouts you will ever see. Multiple strikes, just vicious. Very, very vicious. And in the moment, very scary. Webster was down for multiple minutes, almost unresponsive. And Xander is just, I don't even think he knows how good he is. He's that kid. He doesn't realize or trust himself or has the confidence in himself inside that ring yet. When he puts it all together, he's special. He is so damn special. And when he figures that out and when he puts everything together, the featherweight division's got an absolute monster on their hands. I cannot wait for him to turn pro and really, accelerate his career. But I think he's got a little bit unfinished business, and we'll check in with that just a little bit further. I think, actually, can we jump? Yeah, one more fight before that. The last 3 fights all 3 of these fights could have been the main event. All 3 of these fights were so anticipated. Let's kind of start in the lightweight division. Joe Ham and Juan Alvarez. This was a rematch. And the weigh-ins, this was the weigh-in show. Juan Alvarez was not happy. Very vocal, very loud, even got a little physical at weigh-ins. And Joe Ham was okay. Like, you could just tell he was just banking the feelings, right? Quick fight. Joe Ham submits Juan Alvarez with a beautiful, beautiful rear naked choke. Started standing up, then got him on the ground. Juan started with a wrestling and just kind of the transition, and it just ended up with Joe having his back. Joe Ham is a phenomenal, phenomenal fighter. Future's ultra bright. I think there's going to be a really, really big fight for him at Island Fight 66. Like I said, I talked to Devin Adams after the show, and big things for Joe. Man, Juan just got to keep his head up. He just has to keep grinding. He's just so athletically gifted, and the good Lord above blessed him with strength and all these skills. He just needs to just keep learning, just keep grinding, just keep staying in the gym, and we're hoping for big things ahead for Juan. So it's a setback. Losses happen, especially in amateur. Just keep rolling. Just keep grinding. Here we go. Co-main event. This is for Island Fights. And it's just something I don't want to say not believed in. Just something that they just don't give out for granted. Like, they don't give out championships a lot. There's been only one amateur in the last 18 months champion. That's SD Dumas. He is now pro, fighting for Icon Fighting Federation, and we see how good he is. I remember Michael Beast Boy Davis took a pro championship for Island Fights, but that was 2 years ago. It's just it's not like they don't believe in it. It's just they feel like they don't need, in a way, to give out championships. But they got beautiful belts in. I don't know if you saw some of the weigh-in shows or even the podcast show I did on the Island Fights IG. The titles were just beautiful, heavy. Great material, just beautiful, beautiful titles. So this is in the featherweight division, Michael Peltier versus Anthony Seger. We were all excited, ringside, like I said. Dean Toole, Devin Adams, Phil Rowe, Daniel Martinez, Tally, and I were all sitting ringside. We're all licking our chops for this one. And I don't want to say it kind of went the way we thought, in a way, because both men very close. We were talking about this fight. We weren't sure who was going to win. And like I said, Peltier is just that really gritty fighter, and he's just always there. Just so many different ways to win the fight. But Anthony Seger was I know we use this name a lot, but inside the ring was an absolute savage. Put on a show. It was a statement that Anthony Seger put on. Segs was unreal with standing. He was unreal with the ground and pound. I kind of went back in the UFC heritage, and he was Tito Ortiz in him. He was a featherweight Tito Ortiz on top, huge hammer fist, big overhand rights. Just easily one of the best performances we have ever seen. Devin Adams told me off air, maybe the best performance in the amateur level in Island Fights history. You know, knockouts are great. We see knockouts with Shank and SD, but sometimes you don't see the full package, right? Or maybe, the fighter that he's fighting, shouldn't have been in there with him. Peltier's a stud, but Seger just got the job done. Third round TKO and new featherweight champion Anthony Seger. But back to Alexander Shank. Alexander Shank called out Seger after his fight. Of course, Seger won. It was just match made in heaven. Alexander was standing outside the ring. Wright itself. Alexander kind of jumped in the ring. They did the face-off. We could see that fight very, very soon. I think it could be the last amateur fight for both men because both guys are ready to turn pro, ready to, jump on that challenge. And both of them I see having a great, great mixed martial arts career. But it looks like Shank versus Seger will have one more amateur fight. Easily can main event any amateur show in America. And we hope to get it at Island Fight 66. Here we are into the main event. Tally was so damn excited for this one. Definitely watch it on the Island Fights Facebook page. Kayla Stricker versus Carson Nash. We were pumped. We were absolutely so excited for this fight. The only female fight on the card. Strawweight championship on the line. Just both girls were just... We knew they're both next level. They're both professionals fighting in the amateurs. Probably both of their last amateur fight. And it's you never know what's going to happen in a fight. You never know if it's going to be a quick knockout. You never know it's going to turn out to a submission and BJJ game. You just really never know. And the sad part on this fight is that Kayla Stricker got hurt. She got hurt early in the first round. She's a really great kicker. And it looks like early in the first, she threw a beautiful leg kick and kind of popped and never went back. Some people are afraid for something really serious, maybe even like an Achilles or ACL. I think Kayla thinks maybe like her knee popped out, a broken ankle. It was, like I said, it wasn't great. She was kind of hobbling around the ring, but the one thing so now we know and we saw is the heart of Kayla Stricker. Like, she was injured, she was hurt, and still went all 3 rounds. She showed her heart. She showed, we're going to use that word again, is grit. Unbelievable performance by Kayla. But Carson Nash saw the injury, and it was funny. I talked to her real quickly right after the fight. She said she felt weird after the injury, right? And after the first round, didn't know really to do. Second round was total domination by Carson. Just a great grappling performance. Really controlled her. Was on top of her for maybe 85-90% of the round. Third round as well, definitely more of a grappling round, second and third, because Kayla couldn't really strike anymore. So when Kayla couldn't strike, Carson couldn't strike back. And beautiful way to end the fight, though, with a little reversal by Kayla. Both girls were just throwing. Great corners from great teams, great gyms, great fighters, great people, an unbelievable show. And Carson Nash becomes the female strawweight champion. Unbelievable performance. Looks like it's definitely pro debut for her next. And she was yelling on the mic. Who knows? San Carlos, Mexico is coming up. And we'll see where we see Carson Nash next. But just a great night, guys. So many stories. Like I said, we had Phil Rowe being a ring card guy, girl. The crowd was pumped. We got so much great footage and so many great interviews. Just Island Fight 65, undersold and over-delivered. Just a beautiful, beautiful, just the event. The place was packed. It was great to see mixed martial arts back. The last event for 2020, and we know how god dang hard the year has been. Just so excited. Hey, guys, hats off to everyone. I don't want to name certain names, but just hats off to all the fighters, all the gyms, all the quartermen. Just a great night, man. Everyone that was there, part of the show, should be very proud of what they did. And we can't wait. Island Fight 66 coming very soon. I think the date will drop soon. I believe sometime in January. And, absolutely pumped. Tally Payne, thank you so much for being my co-seat driver. It was awesome. I just thought we went back and forth. She was great on the mic. And it's just, you could see her really moving forward with it. I thought she was that good. If she goes to the UFC Fight Pass, or I hope she does more events with us at Island Fights, would love to absolutely see Tally back again here at Island Fights. And, we'll do it again. So there you go, guys. That is the recap of Island Fights 65. If you weren't there, hopefully you enjoyed it on Island Fights Facebook page. If you weren't there, get there next time. All right? All right, guys. Have a good one. Let's talk soon.